My check. Okay, I'm good. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. No need to fast forward for the replay today because we're going to get right into it. Thank y'all for being here with me today. I have my agenda, and my name is Montina. That's my government name. And I am super excited that you're here today. If someone invited you, they really do care about you because this is a safe space for women that want to do the work, women that want to get and stay married. This is a safe space for wives, I should say, that want to do the work, women that want to do the work, women that want to attract the love they desire and deserve, and just women that love men. It's funny, this morning at my Pilates class, I was saying that I really do enjoy men. I enjoy their company. I enjoy their attention. I love and adore men. I honor them. I respect them. There's some crazy men in the world, but there's some crazy women in the world. And I think overall, I've just come to a space and place in life where I just desire to connect with them and understand them and study them. So this is what this place is. It's a daily dose of inspiration. And I really do it because there's not too much, if anything, out in the atmosphere for women that are like, hey, I want to stay married. I want to do the work. I'm having some challenges. I don't want a divorce, but I'm frustrated. And all we hear from the older women are just, girl, it's hard, but you'll get through it. Well, that's just not enough. It's just not enough. So the get hard and get through it is why we're here. So what we're going to do is just really go through a few quick things. I have a long, long, long day. Welcome to y'all. Good morning, Grand Rising, whatever y'all say. It's here today. You're welcome in this place. But the stats are there when it comes to marriage. And I say it all the time. 50% of first marriages do end in divorce. 67% of second marriages end in divorce, and 73% of third marriages end in divorce. And less than 5% of people do it 3 times, like my husband and I did. And I've learned a lot of lessons. I literally have hundreds of videos online. And I learned lessons as a divorcee. I learned lessons as a single parent. There are a lot of lessons I learned in second and third marriages. And I'll tell you, it really is kind of the same thing repeated over and over and over when we don't address certain things in our lives. And that's just what I've come to. That's just like the epiphany, the profound moments. It's hard, it's difficult, but here's why. And with that said, 80% of the time, it's just not hard. 80% of the time in the month, 30 days out of the month, 24 days, it's not hard. It's like super easy, like sliding down a slide. It's fun. But the 6 days are so challenging that you almost forget about the 24 days that are okay. It's kind of like having a baby. You go through all the pain. You're like, oh my God, I don't know if I could do this again. And people do it again. Some people don't. But it's kind of like that on those 6 days. It's like, I don't know if I can do this again. And that's where I'm trying to help all of us get through the 6 days when we're in the valley. We're not always in the valley. We come up out the valley, we go over the valley, we peep over the valley, but it's part of life. So, what I'm going to do today when I talk about this, I just typically bring up 4 P's. The power, it can be in the word, it's in the books that you read, it's in the information that's shared, it's an understanding and gaining knowledge and education and information. And I'm in a conference this week, and a large part of it is around entrepreneurship and global economics and things that relate to what I do in my business. And I'm constantly learning. Every single year, I go to personal development, professional development, and I realize that because I'm constantly learning, I'm constantly evolving. I've been learning my entire life. I've always prioritized personal growth, professional growth, and development. So for me, because I've done the work, it's very easy for me to walk in and understand, oh, this area is a little bit out of whack over here. And especially because I'm fit too, right? So when I'm going to the gym, one of my Pilates instructor was like, I've had something here on my shoulder. And I'm like, well, I go to the chiropractor. So there's just things that you do that align with your life. And that's the way it is in marriage when we gain this information. It's things that if something comes up in my marriage, I go back to me and say, okay, where have I encountered this before? Where have I read about this before? What's going on with my husband? What might be going on with me? Am I taking this personally? Am I internalizing something? Is there something more big picture going on? And so again, that's what it is with the power. We have to continue to recharge, refresh, re-energize, reread content and books and information. Pray before we say prayer. There's power in prayer and talking to God and talking through our faith and meditating and hearing and listening. God, let me see him how you see him. Let me hear his heart. Lord, just give me a, I'm a dreamer. I don't share a lot of that online, but I'm a dreamer. Things come to me in dreams. And, so ask God to speak to you. The other thing is the purpose of marriage is to make us the best version of ourselves. So when we have that sandpaper part of life where it's hard, ask yourself, okay, what am I supposed to learn from this? Because I don't want to repeat certain things in my life. I'll tell you that. Some behaviors I've seen, I don't want repeated. And then the practical side, I'm not going into the battlefield of the mind because I want to address some things as we go into the weekends. Happy Friday. And there's a couple of things. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to title this, but we'll get to the practical side. But everyone is dealing with their own set of problems. I actually heard a lady say this recently. Everyone's dealing with their own set of problems. I was getting ready to leave from someplace and I said, hey, it's getting late. I want to get home. My husband, yeah, I kind of say it in jest. He acts a little crazy. I was like, but I need to get home. I don't like to be out late. It's just, it's a certain side of town. I was the one in Georgia and Atlanta. And I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel comfortable. I wanted to go. So the lady was like, well, I said, hey, my husband be acting crazy. I got to go. It was a group of us. And one lady was like, well, I got a man, but I'm here and I can do what I want. And I'm like, okay, like I didn't know where it came from. And so I said, well, sis, okay, since, I'm a little petty sometimes, but I was like, okay, I can get home, my husband's this and that. And so she looked at the lady, see, everybody deal with their own set of problems. And it made me think like everyone does deal with their own set of problems. And I don't know what your problems are that you're dealing with, but I'm gonna tell you, out of my circle of women that I deal with, some of their husbands are having affairs. Some of their husbands have been abusive mentally, physically, emotionally. Some of they're dealing with stuff with their kids and grandkids and adults and sick parents and elderly people. There's a lady at my Pilates studio, and she'd always been really quiet coming in, and I'm a chatty Cathy. I love people, and I realize that people go through so many things, which is why I'm pretty observant and try to check in with people because there aren't enough people that check in with other people. I grew up as an only child, so I'm very, very comfortable by myself. So for me, sometimes I want to deal with people, sometimes I don't. But I was like, let me check in, and ended up finding out that her nephew had been murdered, and she had raised him from birth. So you don't know what set of problems people are dealing with, and that's why I created this safe space. Because as a wife, I don't know what you're dealing with behind the veil for real, for real. It's like the Wizard of Oz, right? So you might come out and things look okay. I don't know. See, I don't have social media, so I'm not putting stuff on Facebook. I don't have time I just don't have time for it really. But I also don't have time to see things. And, people are like, all of a sudden, what happened? It's life happened. Okay, life happened. And so I know a lady, she hurt herself. She hadn't been to the gym. Another lady, I don't know. She just out of the blue has stopped coming. I sent her a couple messages and she just showed up. And it was like, okay. Another lady, I actually put some of the things here, dealt with the death of an adult child through suicide. And another person is dealing with some things with grandkids. Some people miss their parents. They're coming, on death date. So again, we all deal with our own set of problems. So as a woman and as a wife, we should be praying for each other because we don't know what the person's dealing with on the other side. Especially if you had childhood traumas, especially if you have a spouse that is stonewalling you, meaning, they are not speaking to you for a certain reason, or maybe you're that person. I told y'all when I first met my husband, I tried that. He said, But then we've had it in the reverse where he's done that to me, and it could be a trigger from a day and it could last weeks or longer. So we have to understand that everyone is dealing with their own set of problems. But beyond that, I want to provide a solution with this. Also, I want to talk about conflict. There is a fight, flight, freeze in a book that I'm reading. And she said, how do you fight in your marriage? Do you fight? Okay. Do you flight? Do you exit? Do you leave, abandon? You have to leave, you stay gone, or do you freeze where you're just silent? You don't say anything. We need to make sure that we understand how to have conflict resolution. We deal with a lot of this in leadership in corporate. I used to actually teach a little bit of this. There's one thing called crucial conversations. Sometimes it's necessary to have crucial conversations within your relationship. But when emotional needs aren't met, this is dangerous. And this is a book that I've referenced, I don't know, probably 3 times a week I reference it. But I really want you guys to get this book, His Need, Her Needs, How to Affair Proof a Marriage is what it used to be called. And I kept thinking, why do I keep saying that? But the first chapter is how to affair proof your marriage. So it's how affair proof is your marriage. So maybe that's why I always say that. But how affair proof is your marriage? The book that I referenced for my single ladies, Getting to I Do, The Secret to Getting Relationships Right, I still recommend for married women because you might think you're getting it right. You may not. I know I think I get it right. And sometimes I'm off a little bit. I'm like, oh, I need to fine tune some things. That's why our cars get tune ups. Okay. That's why our tires get rotated. That's why we put on makeup, take it off. How affair proof is your marriage? You really do want to understand the emotional needs that need to be met for both of you. There are 10 basic emotional needs. And I'm just going to do some like summarization and cliff notes. I've gone through this book, I don't know how many times, because I think this is really important. And quite frankly, again, I don't overshare on the internet, but a lot of this is for me. I am around a lot of powerful, handsome, rich men all the time. I'm talking about men that, you know, literally will take your breath away. I know that being married, because I'm in a third marriage, that there's a lot of work, but if certain emotional needs aren't met, we will find other ways to meet those needs. You might have a conversation. I can now tell these things when a conversation is just a little bit, it's just too a little bit too polite, or someone's texting me a little bit too much, or someone's paying a little bit too much attention, and it should be aligned in a business relationship. You won't have too many business lunches. So that's why I read the book. You do you, but this is why I do the work and read the books too. When a man and woman marry, they share high expectations. They commit to themselves to meeting certain intense and intimate needs in each other and on an exclusive basis. Okay. So, exclusive basis. But if you don't understand these needs, and this guy said, look, we've been married 45 years. He did some counseling. He said, when a husband and wife come to me for counsel, my first goal is to help them identify their most important emotional needs. And he said, over the years, I've repeatedly asked the question, what could your spouse do for you that would make you the happiest? If you ask yourself that question, what could your spouse do for you that makes you the happiest? If you're not getting it, someone else is going to try to fulfill it. Same with him. If he's not getting it, someone else is going to try to fulfill it. And we all always go to the sex part. It's not the sex part. What comes first typically is the conversation part. But he says here, admiration, affection, conversation, domestic support, family commitment, financial support, honesty and openness, physical attractiveness, recreational companionship, and sexual fulfillment. Obviously, the way to keep a husband and wife happily married is for each of them to meet the needs that are most important to the other. He said, but it's a difficult assignment. Remember, I said, oh my God, marriage is difficult. But why? Because this is the work that you're doing all the time. You're studying this. You're understanding the season you're in that I've talked about: winter, rigidity, difficulty, unforgiveness. It's a dead part of the marriage. Spring, new beginnings, fresh start, excitement, enjoy, planting. Summer, happiness, satisfaction, accomplishment, and connection. That's when you're watering. Fall, sadness, uncertainty, apprehension, rejection, and emotionally depleted, dying and reaping. We have to understand these things as we are going through the marriages, going through life, building a future and building relationships. So I know with this, I'm not trying to be a doom and gloom, but we need to understand these things because I'm seeing a lot of things going on in the world. I have a lot of conversations, and this is more serious than we think. Kevin Samuel used to say winter is coming. It's not winter is coming for me, like for single women and this and that, but winter is coming from a world standpoint. Like things are shifting and changing from a political landscape, just from a world landscape. I'm in local politics. Things are changing, they're shifting. And if we aren't joined together, excuse me, walking together, aligned together, thinking on the same page, it just makes life more difficult. You got to fight and do all this stuff out in the world. He does too. You got to come home and your home isn't peaceful. Who wants that? Who wants to live a life like that? So we want to make sure that we're meeting these needs and understanding these needs. Every person's unique. While men on the average pick a particular 5 emotional needs as their most, and women on average pick another 5, any individual can and does pick any combination of the basic 10. So as we exit today, I want you to kind of begin assignments. Understand what season you're in your marriage and commit to affair proofing your marriage on your side and his side. On your side and his side, because we are doing the work. When emotional needs aren't met, understand what that could what could happen for your marriage. He talks about in here the love bank. And these books I reference are really super simple um, books to read. And I go in typically with my highlighter and my pen. And I'm gonna tell y'all again. I hope some of y'all come to Cancun. It's gonna be a small group of us, but we don't always get it right. We do our best, and I'm gonna tell you, I do a lot of work. My husband doesn't know it. My husband doesn't know about these calls. He doesn't realize I do any of this. I don't. He doesn't really know what I do at work. Sometimes he'll come home and say, "What'd you do today? You just slept on it?" And I'm just thinking, like, no. But I've learned to be emotionally mature. Pray before I say. Um, Humor. I have to exercise a lot of humor. And then I do a lot of self-care. I went to Pilates this morning. I'm going back again today at 9:15. And I go get my massages, my sauna. Me investing in my professional and personal development does it for me. And I'm around a lot of people and I love it. You have to invest in things that you love. So your hobbies make you happy. They contribute to your happiness. Remember, your self-care is important. That's where you have your physical, mental, emotional, and physical, spiritual needs met. Self maintenance is important. Like I'm gonna go get my nails, and that's my self maintenance. You need your sister circle, unicorns and rainbows, unicorns and rainbows, unicorns and rainbows. You don't have to go super duper 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 deep with people. And put on that whole armor, sis. Put it on, maybe put it on double because you got stuff to deal with this weekend. And no weapon formed against you because the joy of the Lord is your strength. Understand where your strength comes from with your joy. Don't let anyone steal your joy. No matter what you're going through, no matter where he takes you, they take you. And then again, some of that just spills over into your marriage. Got to keep your cup in overflow. I'm very conscious about keeping my cup in overflow, especially when I'm having some challenging times, because most of the people I deal with take and they don't have the capability to give back into the relationship because they're not doing the work. If you're not reading books, you can't have no discussions about no books because you're not reading the books. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on Instagram. I'm not concerned about anything. I want to be the best version of myself. So when I meet people, most of the time, I don't meet very many people that read. You guys got to read more. You guys have to have lives outside of the internet. I don't understand it. Really. If you haven't read a book since you've been out of high school or college, this is a lot about you. And I'm not trying to admonish anybody, but like, that's not good. We live in a world where people don't read. They don't have libraries. You just read on Facebook. Like, that's not how we should be operating. It's not enough for your brain. Okay. Even me, I'm not enough. You guys got to get out of here. I'm not enough. So I want you to have an amazing, amazing day. But I also, when I say unicorns and rainbows, like, think about how can you have more thoughtful conversations centered around things that make you, that challenge you to become a better version of yourself. All right. So let me go in here and look into the comments real quick. Hey, Yapa, thank you so much. Hey, Robin, you guys are coming from New Zealand. Somebody share me in New Zealand. I want to come to New Zealand. All right. Yapa will block y'all. You over here acting up. She will block you. Okay. You know what, Cobra? Some people don't go to church, and there's a lot going on in the church. Okay. Hey, Alfonso, y'all guys, why are y'all coming over here? I'm just curious. You're welcome here. We love men, but it's just funny. Hey, Candace. Yes, I'm glad you're reading. Good. Get you some books. You guys go to Abe. I'm going to put it in here, abebooks.com. And again, this is just observation over the years because most people I talk to, I keep it pretty surface with folks because they're not doing any professional work. They're not doing any work on themselves. So the only thing I can talk about is lipsticks and skincare and all that because they're not reading books. Like if I walked up to somebody and said, "What's the last book you read?" Matter of fact, I'm gonna start doing that just to let y'all know to check them and say, "What's the last book that you read?" Most people aren't doing the work. And again, not to admonish anybody, but why aren't you doing the work? Because our lives are just going to be the same. And then most people, you look at my life, it's very, very different. I lead a very unique life, and God has been very faithful. But I mean, I'm a voracious reader. Even with, I have a thesaurus here because I want to, I don't want to use the same words all the time. But then sometimes I use words and I'm like, this person doesn't even know what this means. But it's okay. Okay, we're here to help and encourage each other. So you guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of the day. Remember, get you some nookie in this weekend if you can, okay? You need that time. The sexual fulfillment is in every book that I read as well, and it helps with the oxytocin in your brain. It helps keep you connected. I hope that you all have an amazing, amazing rest of the day. Encourage another woman that is married. We go through a lot of things, y'all, and pray before you say be emotionally mature this weekend and laugh it off, sis. I'll see y'all on Monday. Bye. Bye, y'all.